Today we're going to do example 3, part B. So first thing I'm going to do is arrange the inside of the logarithm so that it's in standard form. So what I mean by that is the t needs to come first to be in standard form. So it's negative t plus 2. And then you have to factor out that leading coefficient, which is a negative 1. So we get negative 1 t minus 2. Now that's in standard form, A is negative 1, C is negative 1, H is positive 2, because remember there's a minus sign in the standard form, so you take the opposite, and then K is 0. And the base of this, since it's the natural logarithm, is E, so B equals E. So we get a vertical asymptote at x equals 2, because that's our h value. So I'll plot that first. And then our starting point, well, that, remember, is going to be at h plus 1 over c, so 1 over negative 1, comma, k, which is 0. So that's 2 plus negative 1, which is 1, comma, 0. So there's our starting point. And then since a is negative, flip vertically. And since C is negative, flip horizontally as well. So normally a logarithm looks like that. Well, if we flip it vertically, it's going to look like that. That's a vertical flip. And then if we flip it horizontally, it will look like this. So that means our graph will look something like this. And again, this is a rough sketch. On My Open Math, you're going to need to be a little bit more specific by just plugging in another point. Now, since this is a natural logarithm, you're not going to get a nice whole number ever. All the answers you get are going to be decimals. So you're just going to have to plot your best guess of near those decimals. Okay. Now on to part C. Now part C is already in standard form, so I don't need to do that. So our base is 8, A is positive 1, C is positive 1, H is negative 4, and K is negative 2. So we get a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 4. So let's plot that. And then we have a starting point at, well, h plus 1 over c, comma, k, which is negative 3, comma, negative 2. And then since a and c are both positive, there's no flipping. So a standard logarithm with b bigger than 1. I forgot to mention that in part B as well. This is when b is already bigger than 1. So we're going to get something that looks like this. Now this one I probably could have done, like if you plug r equals 4 in, you should get negative 1. So I'm really missed here, it would look like this. So again, if you plug r equals, so h of 4, that's log base 8 of 4 plus 4 minus 2, which is log base 8 of 8 minus 2. Well, 8 to what power is 8? 1. So 1 minus 2 is -1. And that's how I got the 4, -1. So that's how you can graph logarithmic functions. Well, now, just like with exponentials, we want to start with the graph and get the equation. And also, just like exponentials, I'm going to start with the asymptote. Just this time, it's a vertical asymptote instead of a horizontal. So with this graph, we get x equals 4, which implies that h equals 4. Next, I'm going to find a starting point. Let's go ahead and pick this one. So that's 3, -3. Well, the y value implies that k equals -3. And the x value implies that h, which we know is 4, plus 1 over c equals 3. So you can go through and solve for c, subtract 4 from both sides, and then flip both sides. We get c equals -1. And if you remember with exponential equations, in order to find c, you needed to pick another point, plug it in, and then solve for c. With logarithm equations, in order to find a, you need to pick another point. So for that second point, let's go ahead and pick 0, -1. And plug it into the standard form of the log equation, which I haven't written yet. We would say f of x equals a, because we don't know what a is yet, times log. Well, we are told to do log base 2 from the directions of the problem, so log base 2, of c, parentheses, x minus h, parentheses, plus k, but since k is negative, that'll be -3. So this means plug 0 in for x and -1 in for y. So we get -1 equals a times log base 2, -1, 0 minus 4, -3. So first thing I'm going to do is add 3 to both sides. So we get 2 equals a times log base 2. And then at the same time, 0 minus 4 is -4. But don't forget, you have to multiply it by -1. So we get 4. Then log base 2 of 4 is 2 to what power equals 4? Well, that's squared. So we get 2 equals a times 2. Divide both sides by 2. We get a equals 1. So our final answer is f of x equals 1 times log base 2 of -1, x minus 4 minus 3. And of course, because a and c are 1 and -1 respectively, you don't actually have to write the ones. You would just have to write the negative sign for c. But just so everyone knows where all the numbers are going, I decided to write them out for the notes.